Hello, and welcome to our Dreamtek livestream. My name is Jeff Eggleston, and I'm the current supervising producer and team manager here on the West Coast. Now, this will be a series of live streams so we can showcase all the locations and services that we offer, not only to our clients here in the Bay Area, but globally. We have a lot to cover today, and I'm excited to get started. Now, there are hundreds of things I love about my job, but if I had to pick a favorite, hands down, it's getting to work with the ridiculously talented crew that operate right here in the studio that we're standing in. So to kick things off, it only makes sense to start in sunny California, right here in the heart of Silicon Valley. Now, I'm not sure how you're joining us today, because we're streaming out to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. So whatever vehicle brought you here, we're really happy to have you. But with that said, if you want to get to interact with us today by asking questions, leaving comments, you gotta come over right here to our Instagram page and get involved. Because there we're gonna have moderators standing by, and they're also gonna take a couple select questions and feed them to us here in the studio so we can answer them in real time. Now, I know what you're thinking. What do they have in store for us today? Well, I'm excited to announce that we have two members of the Dream Team standing by that are gonna join us live from their homes. They're going to give us answers and insight on how Dreamtek as a company has historically operated, how we have now pivoted and adapted into working mostly remotely, and also all the exciting things we have cooked up for the future. Now, as we get set up to bring them in, I'd like you to check out this short video of some of the highlights of the projects we've worked on globally that we're very proud of. Good? Check this out. Now, those are some pretty impressive examples, and that is just a taste of what we've done here at Dreamtek. Now, I'm getting word that our two guests are prepped and standing by, so here we go. We're going to show you how we can still do an in-studio production with the lights, the camera, the crew, the set, all while having our guests safely and comfortably in their own homes anywhere around the globe. Now, I'm very excited to welcome from New York City our executive director and global creative lead, Gary Phillip, and all the way from the UK, our global head of technical operations, Sakib Razak. Welcome, guys.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for having us.
Great to be here.
Absolutely. Now, before these two share their expertise and knowledge, I feel it's only fair to share a bit about how they've earned our attention. Gary is an award-winning producer, seasoned with 13 years of experience in television, film, event production, and branded content creation. Sakib is a trained engineer with a background in broadcasting and live streaming. He's worked at the BBC and designed and built studios for Red Bull, Google, Facebook, and many others around the world. Guys, I can't express enough how great it is to be back in the studio doing a production with both of you.
Likewise, Jeff. The feeling is very, very much mutual. The last time we were together, I was actually right there with you in that studio in California, looking for ways to settle in with my family. I'm actually relocating, as you know, from London to the Bay Area to work more closely with the fantastic team that we have there. And those plans were interrupted, let's say, when the COVID broke out. So we put that plan on pause, and luckily I was able to catch one of the last flights back to the UK to be here with my family. And when it's safe to do so, I'm very much looking forward to coming back, joining you and working with the awesome team that we have there in the Bay Area.
Yes, I remember that like it was yesterday, even though it was 4 months ago. And rest assured, the belongings that you brought over here for your move are safely behind our set, and keeping a close eye on them. And we can't wait for the word that you and your family can safely relocate over here.
Awesome.
Although I'm not looking to relocate, I actually do spend a fair amount of time there myself, which I dearly miss. It's kind of like one of our babies, all of ours. We helped build that studio from scratch. Just about a year ago. And yeah, I'm looking forward to get back there once travel allows for it.
I agree.
And
Can't wait to
and
get you back here.
and also, we should actually dive into yourself and some of your experience. Obviously, some of those projects that you spoke of, we actually collaborated on a lot of projects together many, many, many years ago. And obviously, you've been in the industry for about 15 years now, working on everything from docuseries to reality television. You've gone from casting in New York to now producing and directing around the world for networks and channels that we're all familiar with. Thanks for joining the team and looking forward to working with you.
Yeah, I'm more than excited. So I guess brings us to our first topic. If you guys would give us the background on Dreamtek as a team and as a business. Gary, we'll start with you.
Yeah, sure. I think one of the reasons why we thought it would be great to have you part of the team is because of your energy and how fun and cool and creative and engaging you are. And that's the type of projects that Dreamtek likes to work on, things that we're passionate about, things that we get up in the morning and say, I'm excited to go to set. I'm excited to go to this location and do a shoot. I'm excited to scout and prep a project and come up with, cool workflows that utilize technology, which I think we're going to discuss a fair amount throughout this call. But yeah, it's all about, our core values and bringing those elements to the table when we execute our productions.
Sakib, any technical add on there when it comes to background of the team and the business?
Absolutely. I mean, speaking from a technical perspective, as a business, we've got over 10 years of continuous technical innovation. We move as technology moves, and anyone who knows this industry understands that this is fast moving, it's continuously evolving and exponentially getting better as time moves on. And for us, it's part of our culture here to constantly keep our eyes on the horizon. I manage tech ops, and we have an extremely talented team of engineers globally who between them have decades of experience. One of our key functions is research and development, and coming up with those workflows, coming up with the technical solutions. And I have to say, it's an incredibly rewarding experience to be able to come up with those ideas that are going to leave our clients satisfied. And one thing that we really thrive on here at Dreamtek, between the collaboration of the technical and the production and all the teams that make that magic happen, is the amazing feedback we receive from our clients when we execute successfully.
Perfect. I highly agree, and it's something that is attractive to me personally when I was researching Dreamtek prior to joining the team. Which this brings us to our first question coming from our moderators. I guess people that are tuning in have asked multiple times, how did you all get involved in live streaming?
Yeah, it's a really good question and kind of ties into, I think, what we just finished discussing. We've had the opportunity and the fortune to work on some phenomenally cool and creative productions. And, I'm happy to speak about a couple of them. One of them being working with Google and Global Goals and with an initiative dealing with women and trying to create conversations around equal pay, equal education rights. And we had the opportunity to work with Michelle Obama, Charlize Theron, not to name drop, but those are some big names to have in the room at one time. And the whole goal was to create a conversation with young ladies around the world, some of them being in Manhattan, kind of like where our central hub was, at the famous Apollo Theater. But the part that we needed to make engaging was having that conversation piece with young ladies in Africa and Kenya and Ghana. And we were able to utilize tools such as Google Meets. It was Google Hangouts on air back then, to leverage that and then be able to have a communication dialogue with the two of them utilizing that tool. So they were able to ask questions, and then Michelle Obama, Charlize Theron were able to answer them live. So it was for a really good cause. It's kind of like one of those moments where you get to bring technology and production and creativity all for a good cause. And that's definitely one of the initial projects where we were able to kind of like dive into the live streaming world. And there's a few others that I would love to speak about, but I'm sure we'll kind of touch base on them later on in our discussions.
Yeah, those are some phenomenal examples, Gary. Thanks for sharing. And to touch on that and how personally live streaming, I mean, live has always been a part of my DNA and a part of the business, right? It's coming from both a broadcasting and a production background. And then seeing how technology has really come a long way, in particular over the last decade or two, and how the merging of those two, that broadcast background and professional experience, also with the democratization of how content can be delivered using the internet, using the improvements that have happened in that area. I mean, we've been on the cusp of the emergence of that technology from the very beginning. Some people will remember, Media Live Encoder and some of those other technologies, and we've always been there, and we continue to evolve with it and continue to work, and that's who we are at Dreamtek.
Perfect. Thank you guys for sharing those examples. And to touch on the audience question, personally, I was in the field working on multiple projects over the last 15 years in reality and docuseries television. And of course, it always started off, on the cable network or on the network channel. And then it was evolving into doing pieces that would then air on the internet, bite-sized pieces that would end up on your phone. So I was getting a taste of how the content delivery was evolving, and we kept hearing live streaming. Live streaming is the new future, and obviously the future is now. And I was lucky enough to always stay in contact with my good friend Gary Phillip from college. And when I was transitioning in projects, he let me know that there was an opening, and I've jumped in, both feet right in the deep end and not turning back. Grateful for that experience, and live streaming is by far the future. Which brings us to our next subject. We would be amiss not to reference the gorilla in the room, not only here in our studio today, but in every room that's tuning in. And that is, COVID-19 and what that has done to us personally and as a functioning, business. So I would love for us to kind of talk about how Dreamtek as a company has attempted to not only survive, but find ways to thrive during this situation.
Yeah, I'm happy to take that one on. I think it was more of a natural transition than we initially thought, especially because we are already a global team. We already utilize a lot of the tools that we're all talking about, the Google Meets, the Hangouts, the Zooms, Google Docs, Sheets. It's all things that allow us to collaborate globally. And then when we had to transition into doing these type of remote events, we just kept utilizing those same tools. I think we just kind of doubled down on how we utilize it, when we utilize it. And our teams globally reacted really well to it. It became just an extension of what we were already doing and providing. And in fact, with that growth, we've had to expand, and now we're exploring doing internships throughout the country and finding that new talent, that new core team that's going to help us grow. And we're pretty excited about it. It put us in a place where it allows for us to provide a service that means the clients can continue communicating with their customers. It's all about business continuity.
Yeah, and to add to that, I mean, I absolutely echo what Gary said there. A lot of the tools that the whole world is waking up to now and being forced to utilize all of the things that Gary mentioned. That's been part of what we've already been doing. But some of the more challenging parts for us in meeting the technical demands that we as a business have, especially in relation to our technical directors who had to transition from working in a studio environment to now working in their bedrooms or their living rooms or their home offices. We've had to work with upgrading internet packages for our staff around the world because we weren't equipped for being able to do live streaming and broadcast from that. So we've gone to that extent of doing that, even going as far as sometimes putting backup 4G lines in as an added measure of resilience so that we don't actually lose broadcast when we're doing it. We've purchased and shipped a whole ton of equipment, both for our staff and our technical team, but also for our clients as well, in the form of care packages so that they can actually look as good as we can get them in their home environments. We will also have that same challenge. It's been a very, very hectic period for us. It's been very busy. We've really had to, what we like to say, the business, we've had to pivot quite drastically in coming up with entirely new workflows that work for us as a business and how we continue to operate, but also how we service our client and our customers. And on top of that, things like our existing products, things we were working on before even COVID, things like our switcher platform, which is our platform that allows high quality captures from remote locations. Originally, the intention was remote locations that have fantastic bandwidth and good quality setups. We transitioned into being able to use that and it was a natural fit to be able to use that from people's homes and get good quality feeds for broadcast environments into that platform as well. So it's been very challenging, but I'd like to say we've done a great job in being able to pivot and come up with new solutions and workflows and have our entire team embrace that challenge and really take it head on. It's been great.
Perfect. I highly agree with those answers. Now we have a question that is coming in from our moderators that we touched on a little bit with your answers, but I think they're putting a nice positive spin on it. And you know us, we always try to find the positive. So what has been the most difficult thing to overcome and what has been the most positive takeaway from that?
Sure. I mean, I can speak to that first. Looking at, based on an example, I like to talk about one of the ones I've been working on during this time. And in fact, we're still working on it as we speak now, is a huge project for Google in dealing with the next on air digital event. Normally, this is an event where they invite loads of customers to come and meet them at a physical location and have a whole series of webinars and events and sessions where they announce new features and talk about lots of exciting things for customers and developers to collaborate on. We've had to take that entire event and think about how we're going to capture and deliver digitally. And we're very proud to have been a part of the team to do that and accomplish that. We've had to record over 400 sessions, some of which are still recording as I speak now. We have teams capturing, live vision mixing that, capturing that. And it was very interesting to come up with entirely new workflows that would be able to do that. We've got speakers all over the globe who are contributing to this event. So being able to get TDs in our global locations all over the world, trained up and ready to do that has been great. One of the more difficult things, especially with this project, has actually been dealing with the technical issues that people have in their homes, right? So we've got presenters now, and we've had a very interesting time, like coaching them through how to get that best location, right? And pick the spot. It's been really entertaining, actually. Some of them have gone as far as lifting up their laptop and giving us a tour of their home, so we can actually get that perfect spot that has just the right amount of lighting, where the acoustics sound good in that home environment, and being able to get to a point where we can get them looking best in the environment and dealing with that, as well as obviously there've been another occasion where we shipped out a 50-foot Ethernet cable because one presenter had the challenge of having a router on the other side of their home. So getting them to like run a huge cable through the middle of the house for the point where we had to capture them. But it's those really kind of thinking about how we deal with those challenges and how we can best work with the wonderful presenters and both Googlers and their customers that we get to work with. And the positive of that has been that they've actually enjoyed that experience. Some of them are actually using the recommendations we made for that live stream and they're now using that as like their regular workspace because they like the lighting and the way it looks. And so they're actually just adopting that for all their video conference calls, of which we're all actively doing a lot more of now.
What's funny is Sakib sounds like you're the one that enjoyed it. It sounds like you're, yeah, which is awesome. I think when you think about trying to find those solutions, it's rewarding. You know, when you have to reverse engineer something, you're told, okay, we live in a new world. You can't do this, you can't do that. How do you still execute? And it's finding that new approach, that new creative, that new engineered workflow. Another cool one is one we did recently for HP, Chrome, and Google. They were launching 3 new devices. Obviously, in a normal world, this would have been probably an event at some venue, and they would have had broadcast news and some other paid media for it. But now, who's going to film the products? Who's going to create those beauty shots? Who's going to do the interviews? Where are you going to do the interviews? And we took a step backwards and we came up with a really good solution. We realized that along with our engineers, we have some really passionate, camera ops and directors of photography, and those DPs have their own kit, their own home studios. And we asked HP to send us those devices, and our crew pulled out their lights, their cameras, whatever other elements they needed, and they recorded some really high quality 4K promo video shots for a launch that we were gonna pull off for them. In addition to that, there were 3 execs that needed to be filmed, and we needed to execute some interviews. Care packages were sent out similar to like what Sakib sent. So they had, high quality web cameras or other types of cameras. They also had some high quality microphones and some lights. And the image looked phenomenal. And they were able to communicate with each other, to do a panel discussion, to discuss, why was it awesome to use these 3 devices during COVID. It's almost as if they designed them to work from home. They were like water resistant. They could take like a 5-foot drop onto concrete. They were awesome devices. And it was very important for HP to continue with that launch, especially through these times. And we helped them deliver that message to their customers.
Perfect. Thank you guys for sharing those examples. And just to touch on the audience question, personally, it's kind of reiterating the theme here. But I think the most difficult and positive thing that I've experienced over the last 4 months is being required to reinvent the wheel almost every week, if not multiple times, because of the ever-changing situations and how we can still provide our clients the ability to get their content out. And it's been challenging, but it's been really rewarding. So
it's a lot of hand holding. They don't necessarily know what they want or need. They're coming to us as the experts, and us as Dreamtek, we are. We don't have all the answers, but if we sit down and brainstorm and collectively come up with some ideas that we think will work, we're willing to push it to the limit. We're willing to give it a try, and obviously with it in mind that we want it to be successful and have very low risk. But we're willing to step outside the box, and I think that's why the clients come to us. We're experts, and we're willing to go above and beyond to make it happen.
I agree. And that brings us to our final topic, which is looking at going beyond the new normal. Now, one thing is certain, once this pandemic does come to an end, and it will come to an end, we're not going to get to go back to the way things were, and nor should we. So my question to you guys is, what is the vision for the future when it comes to Dreamtek with our team and our business?
Yeah. Thanks for segueing that conversation. I'll say this up front. We are Dreamtek, and that means that we are always looking towards the horizon for what's next. And throughout this entire process, we've been learning a huge amount. And one of the things that we've learned is that not every aspect of remote working or working in this environment was a compromise where we had to find a way to work around and have a lesser version of what we wanted. There were actually many interesting elements that we learned that actually enhanced that experience. And so, as part of our continued innovation, we're looking at a new concept beyond the new normal, right? Something beyond what we now classify within this COVID as what the new normal for everyone. We want to go to that next step. And Gary's going to talk to you about some very interesting concepts or a very interesting new idea that we want to launch.
Yeah, it's I feel like we should call it a moonshot. It's a little bit outside the box, but yeah, I think this is going to be a new world, new norm, the beyond the new norm, where we're utilizing both aspects. We're bringing both worlds together. Throughout COVID, we redeveloped our workflow, our system, the way we execute, where we're doing things remotely, and then prior to that, we all come from a broadcast background where we're utilizing high-end gear in studios, and obviously costs came down where we're able to kind of bring that stuff digitally. But we have our own studios. We have the workflow to understand how to do things remotely. Why not bring those two worlds together? You could have someone in the studio who's moderating, similar to what we're doing today. Jeff, you're in Sunnyvale, California. Beautiful lighting, beautiful studio. And I'm at home, Sakib's at home in London, and we're contributing remotely. And obviously we're doing our best to make sure that what we're doing here looks good, making sure the background looks nice, it's still well lit. But you're doing it without needing to travel, without needing to get on a flight, without needing to, leave your family. And I think going forward, you're going to see a lot of clients wanting to kind of merge those two worlds of high level broadcast and then doing things digitally and remotely.
Yeah, and it's actually a really exciting concept. And when we think about the studio and reopening the wonderful studio facility that we have and how we can utilize it in this way, there's some key benefits that studio provides. One of them being the resiliency that we have in that space. I mean, at that studio, we've got an awesome fiber network, two separate fiber network lines actually, just to provide that resiliency and further backup systems in the way that we've orchestrated and built our gear as well. Things that Gary touched on, having professional cameras, the lighting, the audio, the vision mixing and encoding, that entire process is already nicely set up with the gear that we need to achieve that in a way that goes way above beyond what can be achieved at home. And of course, the most important aspect is, from my perspective, is actually having the incredible dream team that we have, our people who are trained professionals and have amazing rapport with all the clients that work with us, that do their amazing work on a daily basis to make everything look and feel absolutely perfect. Our technical directors have the benefit of studio hardware when they build out the entire show. So the entire package of what we're able to do with that studio and how we combine that with those remote feeds that come in, just like we're doing now, it's a really exciting new concept. And I can't wait to expand on that and share that with our clients and with everyone moving forward.
Yeah. At the beginning of the conversation, we discussed how much we love to travel, which is true. But on the client side, being able to work from home, that's a flight saved in cost. That's hotel accommodation saved. And I think that's going to be part of that new conversation. What can we save and still get the same product out of it, the same ROI. And I think what we're seeing right now is that you're able to still produce something high level, something that is engaging, something that the client wants. And we're doing it in a way that's safe, being in the studio without a huge audience, without a live audience, you're removing the risk of, contamination. Obviously we're dealing with COVID-19 still. So the way we execute is safe, with still incorporating social distancing. And we have our signs throughout the studio, which you'll see in a promo video. But it's the new way. It's the new way to produce content. And I think we're leading those efforts.
Well said. Well said. I agree on all fronts. And just to touch on that, so I'm in the studio right now with a very talented, skeleton crew. So we've done our research. We found out exactly, the safest way possible to be in here and work together, and then also be able to remotely bring in our guests like you gentlemen today. So, I think in the beginning it was, there's no comparison to, in-person live events. And as Sakib pointed out, it's not a compromise of what we're doing. It's another option. It's another way. And the goal is to be able to communicate and to be able to share content. And we are constantly finding ways to do that and still provide a polished, professional, quality look and feel. And I think that's something we all take a lot of pride in, and we are going to continue to always deliver. With that said, at the end here, we have one more question that's come up a few times, and it's on a more personal note, and I would much enjoy ending it like that. So, what do you miss most about pre-COVID?
Wow.
I'm going to let Gary answer first, but I already know what he's going to say.
I think it's the teamwork. I think it's that time that you spend together, whether it's on site at a venue or a separate studio or our own studio. I think it's the just that friendship that you build with people who are interested and as passionate as I am. It's almost intoxicating. You get a high off of it. And I miss having those moments. And yes, video syncs work and we jump on calls all the time, but being together makes all the difference. And we have an awesome team globally. We have guys in Singapore and in London and in Australia and West Coast, East Coast of the United States. Across the world. And we were all part of building that team out. And it's just nice spending time with them. I went to Singapore 12 times over the past 2 years, and Australia and Hawaii with Sakib and Jeff. We spent time traveling together. So I'm hoping at some point we return to that to some extent. But yeah, what we're doing right now is also exciting and engaging and fun. But that's what I miss the most, the travel and building those friendships around the world.
Yeah, and ditto, to be honest. Like I said, I knew what you were going to say, because we had this conversation often. We were joking about missing being just at an airport and like the really silly little things, and trying to simulate using a conveyor belt at home, like walking down towards the airplane with our luggage. But yeah, travel, look, it's a passion for many of us, and we love it. We enjoy it. We love being in new places and the way that broadens our thinking and our horizons in a personal and professional way. And like Gary said, the engagement with the fantastic and awesome teams and the customers that we have, and being able to meet them in person, spend time with them. It's all part of an amazing experience. And that really is something which is so special about Dreamtek in particular. That's why we love being here. We love working with our customers who also embody that culture and spirit as we move forward. So as exciting as these times are, I'm even more excited to be able to resume that once we're able to go and see each other, and in particular with you two fine gentlemen as well. Can't wait till we can all share the same space again and enjoy some time together.
So Sakib brought up a really good point. It's also the customers. They're equally as fun and awesome to be with, and spending time with them, you also build those friendships there. They begin to trust us because they know we're giving everything that we can to build out a successful production and project. And yeah, it's rewarding to kind of like build that friendship and execute on a high level at the same time. And it's definitely different doing it remotely, but yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for that question. I'll chime in. I think you guys said, everything that I wanted to say, and I can't say any better, but I'll try. No, the travel is definitely something that I was accustomed to ever since college because of work. I've been on the road more than I've been in a place that I would consider home, and I've enjoyed that, and I've been drawn to that. So I do miss that, and it's not being in the airports and the hotels, and it's getting to meet new people, finding yourself in a new location, a new situation, and it's impossible not to grow in those circumstances. And I think we all miss that. And in the meantime, before we get back to that, we are going to continue to find new ways to bring the content and the communication face to face, and I think we're all excited to continue to do that. That's all we have on our end. I want to thank our audience for participating and for tuning in, and a big thank you to Gary and Sakib for the great conversation and insight.
Yeah, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure being here, and super excited to move forward and share our Beyond the New Normal with you all.
Yep, thanks, Jeff. Hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. Again, thank you guys for joining us. And audience, if you would please stick around and check out this promo that is going to feature the studio that I'm in right now. As you can see from our studio promo, our team is fully equipped to take any ideas that you can dream up and turn them into live stream productions. We also hope you got a glimpse into our studio space and understand all the features that it has to offer. With that said, it's extremely important that right now we are following best practices and all safety measures when it comes to COVID-19. We want everyone to know that we are up to date on CDC, federal, and state guidelines. We even go out of our way to have this place Corona cleaned every few weeks. Good to go. You see, before Corona, this place was bustling. Monday through Friday, we'd have productions in here, big and small. But when the lockdown came, we too had to shut our doors. We had to protect our crew and our clients. But what we didn't realize was how much we were going to grow during that lockdown. We found a way to bridge in-studio production with work-from-home situations. And now, as we approach the one-year anniversary here in our studio, we're not looking to get back to normal. No, we are embracing the future and continuing to pave the way beyond the new normal. And we're happy to have you joining us. Well, that's all we have for our first Dreamtek livestream. I want to thank our guests, Gary Phillip and Sakib Razak, for joining us. And on behalf of our very talented crew in studio and around the globe, we'd like to remind you, if you can dream it, we can bring it to life. Thanks for joining us.